Hello everyone, and I have a very exciting chess game to show you. In this chess game we have the legend Bobby Fischer with the white pieces, and his opponent was the 5 times chess champion of Cuba, and he was also the chess champion of Pan American Chess Championship 3 times, a very strong chess grandmaster. He was actually international chess master. So his full name is Eleazar Jimenez Zerquera, born in 1928 and passed away in the year 2000. Strong Cuban chess master. So let's see what happened. This chess game was played in the Havana Chess Olympiad. Fischer starts the game with e4, best by test, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, and we see the Spanish game, Ruy Lopez, a6. So we see the exchange variation of the Spanish, and Fischer castled f6, d4, bishop to g4, c3, e takes on d4, and queen to d7. Fischer pushes the pawn, h3, asking a question, bishop to h5, and knight to e5, breaking the pin and simplifying the game. So white is attacking the queen, and black is attacking the queen. We see bishop takes and knight takes, and actually this is better for white because white has strong center. But in this position, black has an interesting idea. Queen takes on h3, damaging the pawn structure in the king side. And actually, according to the engine, white is still doing fine. But white also has some weak pawns. Knight to e5, but we didn't see any tactics such as queen takes on h3. We see this simplification, and after rook takes on d1, rook over f3, and Fischer has strong center and better control in the center. So maybe we can say that Fischer won the opening battle. Black's pawn structure is wrecked in the king side, especially the c-pawn is looking weak. So knight to e7, knight to c3, and king goes back, bishop to e3, so white's position looks promising. f5, rook over, lining the rook with the king, exchanging, and still white has pretty strong grip in the center. So g6, and black wants to fianchetto his bishop, and Bobby Fischer placed his bishop on f4 and aiming the king, and then he pushed the pawn d5, pawn break, rook over, knight to a4, attacking the aggressor g3, and white can play d6, and that's a strong move, says the chess computer engine. And I didn't understand fully black's next move, and black played g5 question mark. Maybe black was trying to deflect the aggressor, but now black has a very annoying pin after bishop takes on g5. So in this position after g3, let's say if c takes on d5, this would be a blunder because this is going to open the rook. Check, and then discover check, double check, sacrificing the rook, and if daring to capture the rook, then knight to b6 is going to be check and mate, and if hoping to escape, then check, and knight to b6 is going to be checkmate. What a fantastic checkmate. So you can see that black's position is worse and white has some attacking opportunities, and again d6 is a strong move for white. So Zerquera played g5, deflecting the bishop, but now trying to deflect the aggressor, but we can see that black has a very annoying pin. Rook to f7, well actually rook to d7 doesn't work because of knight to c5, attacking the only defender, and after moving the rook we can capture the knight, and black is losing a piece. And if unpinning like this, then d6, and if capturing, this is actually all over. Just like this, check, king to c7, and can you guess the next move of white? Bishop takes on e7 is a very strong move, attacking the rook. And if capturing the bishop, then knight to d5, forking the king and the rook, and the c-pawn is pinned. So, okay, this is why black has a very uncomfortable position. Rook to f7 and king to g2. Bobby Fischer says, what happens next is up to you. Some sort of waiting move. C takes on d5, e takes on d5. King to b8, hiding, escaping from the rook. Rook to e1, and again, the knight is pinned, and this looks very annoying. Bishop goes back for supporting the pinned piece. If rook to e8, then rook to e6, and rook from c to e1 is next, and white is much better. And if rook to d7, this is all over. Knight to c5, attacking the rook, and then simply rook takes on e7, losing a piece. So black goes back, and then rook to f1, rook to g7, bishop to f6, attacking the rook and defending the bishop. So rook goes back, and rook from c to e1, hitting the pinned piece once again. So rook to d7, and then Fischer played pawn break d6. Finally, Bobby Fischer cracks open the position and intending to remove the c-pawn, which is clamping on b6, and after removing this important pawn, the knight can hop into b6 and cause trouble to black, attacking the key defender. This is an extremely difficult position. If moving the knight, then rook in is going to be a problem. So Zerquera has a very difficult position. We see c takes on d6, and can you guess the move of white? By the way, before showing white's next move, if knight to c6, again, rook check, and moving the bishop is next, and this bishop is going to be pinned. And if something like knight to c8, then d takes, and rook to e8 is next, and pinning the bishop, and then moving the bishop on f6, and this is also losing. And how about finally, let's say rook takes, and of course bishop takes on e7, and white is a piece up. So nothing works for black, but this is also not working. Can you guess the next move white to play and win? What would you do in this position if you had the white pieces? It's very simple. Bishop takes on e7. It is that simple, and this is winning instantly on the spot. And we see bishop takes on e7, and then black is running into this problem. Rook to f7, and the bishop is pinned, and there is no defense. But in this position, rook takes on e7 is a major blunder. Can you see why? Because of rook takes bishop, that's check, and then capturing the rook, and white is a piece up. So bishop takes knight is a very, very strong move, because then we see another very annoying pin for Zerquera. Pins everywhere, disaster everywhere, and the Cuban chess champion resigned. In this position, how to defend rook takes bishop? The bishop is pinned. If the obvious move, defending with the rook, then the knight hops in to make some trouble after removing the c-pawn. As you can see, the knight can join the attack and attacking the key defender. And if rook to c7, then ouch, knight to d5, forking the bishop, the pinned bishop and the rook. And if rook to c2, then king to f3, and the bishop is still pinned. So if rook takes on b2, you can capture the bishop with the rook, white is winning, but knight takes is even stronger, because if rook captures one more pawn, then knight to c6, that's check, and black is getting checkmated if capturing the knight. So in this position, the bishop is still pinned, and white is winning very easily. White is winning a piece. White is a piece up. So this is why in this position, after rook to f7, the Cuban chess champion Zerquera resigned. And thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time with more interactive chess games. Take care and bye bye.